All right. Welcome to the show. This is Devon Johnson with the Showtime Forum post-game report. And tonight is that night, people. We did what most people didn't think we'd be able to do the night before the All-Star break. We jump out into Denver and handle business on the road. It took us into overtime to make sure it happened, but we did it. We showed what we're made of tonight. That's what we did tonight. And it is all about the intensity that we saw tonight. We're going to get into a whole lot of stuff. But I have to start with our guy, LeBron James, because that man was absolutely on fire tonight. Matter of fact, hold on. Y'all think it's a game. Let me go ahead and just, hold on. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and put on my LeBron jersey right now. I'm caping up for my boy. 13th triple-double. I ain't even worn this before. I still got the tag on. I'm putting on my LeBron jersey right now. Because that's how he played tonight. My man was off the chain tonight. Oh my God, I'm so excited. What a game. It felt like the playoffs tonight. LeBron James he played 42 minutes tonight, and I'm not mad about it. Finished with 32 points, 14 assists, and 12 rebounds, one of those being an offensive board. That's what we want to see from LeBron James. Let me fix this camera real quick because I feel like I'm a little bit too hot. There we go. All right, so guys, listen. When you see LeBron James turn it on like that, it lets you know that when we get to the playoffs, this is what you're going to see. You're going to be seeing him playing upwards towards the 40-minute mark. You're going to see him being aggressive. And there were plenty of moments where we thought he was just going to do a step-back three. And he missed a lot of threes tonight. He was 1 for 7 from three-point land. But there were moments where even the other team thought he was going to shoot a three. And he drove to the basket. He went for the contact. And you know LeBron James is locked in. You know he's locked in when you see him not complaining about foul calls. When you see him not complaining, then that means that he is geared and he already knows he's not getting calls and it don't matter. And I'm going to tell you where the deciding factor was tonight. The deciding factor happened in the first quarter. In the first quarter, I can't remember the guy's name. I can't remember his name. It was some nobody, right? He was a point guard. He was the backup for Jamal Murray. And he made some shot over LeBron, and they called timeout. As they're walking away, the dude said something to LeBron. LeBron stopped, turned around, and started following my man to the bench. And then somebody separated LeBron. From that point on, LeBron, he destroyed it. He destroyed everybody from that point on. And that's exactly what we want to see. And the truth is, guys, these last few games, he hasn't really been that guy. But the truth is that just knowing that he can turn that on when necessary is all that matters. And it almost makes you wonder, has he been kind of like internally load managing during those times, right? Has he been kind of like, on the easier teams, taking it easy to save himself for these games? And this is a game, once again, the night before an All-Star break, where most teams, historically, even the commentators were talking about it tonight, where most teams will take off. Most superstars will take off. Their mind is already into the break. They're going to see their homeboys, their friends, travel arrangements, be with my family, get extended time off. It's like a kid getting ready for summer vacation. You can't get them to pay attention in the last period of the last class of school. Like, they're not going to pay attention. But today, LeBron James was locked in like it was the SATs. He came for blood tonight, and it wasn't just him. Anthony Davis came in tonight and scored just 1 point short of LeBron, or 1 point over LeBron at 33 points, went 12 of 23. LeBron went 15 of 29. I'm perfectly fine with that. Anthony Davis had 10 rebounds, 2 assists. And here's the most telling part, guys. For LeBron James, who's been averaging 7 turnovers over the last 5 games, tonight only had 3. And Anthony Davis only had 2. And here's what's even better. Their personal fouls were low. There really was nobody was really in foul trouble with the exception of Howard, and he did his job tonight against Nikola Jokic. So, tonight was one of those nights where you see exactly what we can do. On the road, a top 3 Western Conference team, and we handle business. We do what we got to do, and it's one of those things that just makes us so excited. But really, where everything turned around was with this guy, Alex Caruso, the Caruso. This guy, man, did his thing tonight. And it's so important to understand that when he's active and when he's doing his thing, not just defensively, but when he's active on the offensive end, it does something tonight. It does something. That wasn't his point total, but it does something for the team. It picks them up. They already know he's going to do his thing defensively, but when he adds that offense and he's aggressive and getting in the paint and hitting shots from the outside, it just adds a certain swagger to the second unit. And tonight, really, if you think about it, Kyle Kuzma played 16 minutes, only had 3 points, and nobody cared. Not one person was going, oh man, we need to trade Kuzma. Where's Kuzma? Nobody cared about Kuzma tonight because Caruso was doing his thing. In fact, nobody cared about Rondo tonight. None of that. We cared about KCP. We cared about Alex Caruso. We cared about Dwight Howard. They did exactly what we need the second unit to do. Avery Bradley was playing incredible defense tonight. Danny Green played incredible defense. And once again, this is what you want to see from this team. Avery Bradley playing 31 minutes but only scoring 10 points. Danny Green playing 31 minutes but only scoring 3 points. Like that, we're fine with the point totals. But the way they played defense tonight made the difference in the game. I am so ridiculously hyped. But Alex Caruso has shown that he deserves the backup point guard spot. Now, whether or not Frank Vogel's going to go with that, we don't know. It's so hard to understand his coaching style in regards to Rondo. And really, when you're thinking about the playoffs, we have like 29 games left. So we're gearing up towards the playoffs. You really don't know if he's going to try to trust the playoff Rondo or if he's going to go with the unproven Caruso in the playoffs. But Caruso's hungry, full of energy, and ready. He wants the assignment to lock down defenders. And, you know, Jamal Murray got off tonight, but they were doing lots of switches. And there were plenty of moments where Caruso was fronting on bigs, man. And he was like, he literally was holding them back from getting rebounds or holding them back from getting passes down low. And he was doing exactly what we wanted him to do. And when you play like that, and you combine that with the idea of Rondo, it almost makes perfect sense just to go, let's just put Caruso in and throw Rondo in when necessary. And I can't think of a time when it's necessary. But even tonight, Rondo played 14 minutes. He shot 2 times. He was 2 points and had 3 personal fouls. In 14 minutes, he had 3 personal fouls. While Alex Caruso tonight played 22 minutes and had 0 fouls. Had 10 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Now, what we saw from Rondo last game was amazing. It was incredible. But if you're telling me that's going to be every now and again, you throw a dart at the board and maybe it hits the bullseye, and that's when we're going to get that version of Rondo. As opposed to a consistent 10-6-4, Caruso's going to keep high momentum, high pressure on the defensive end, keep the momentum going as we're trying to get battle back. In that game, we were down by 6 at one point, and Caruso was just battling on the defensive end and shut down the other team from scoring. And that's what you want. Man, let's get to these questions. I'm so hyped, man. Lakers for Life 24-8. Lakers for Life 24-8. F Denver. Listen, man, Denver, we have a saying when we talk in Showtime forum. We call Denver frauds, man. Like no matter what their record says, no matter how high of a seed they are, to us they don't seem to have the pedigree. And I'm going to tell you where it starts. With them, it starts with Nikola Jokic, and you can tell that they were trying to do something tonight to get him going. They were trying to get his mentality different than the last couple of times that we played him, because Anthony Davis owns Jokic. He owns him. He owns him. In fact, earlier on this season, people were wondering, is something wrong with Jokic, the way that Anthony Davis was shutting him down. And tonight, Jokic, he had a decent game tonight with 37 minutes and 22 points, but those were some very hard points. And when it came down to the crunch time, he was so in his head that he was just throwing up shots thinking he was going to get a foul. Trying to body AD, trying to body him to the rim, and thought he was going to get a foul. It ended up being a jump ball. I don't know what it is with that side and with that mentality, but the Lakers exposed the Nuggets tonight because we showed them that we can come into your home and we can take over your floor no matter how many people you have scoring. Tonight, they had some scores tonight. Jamal Murray did great. Look at the scoring that they had tonight. Gary Harris 13, Jamal Murray 32, Nikola Jokic 22, Jeremy Grant 15, Morris 12, Millsap 10. If you looked at that, you would think, oh my God, like they're going to destroy us. And the truth is that when it came down to crunch time, they couldn't hold on. And the Lakers showed that they can. This is the difference between an unproven group of guys who none of them have really won a championship. And you have some veterans, but none of them have been to the big dance before. They don't know what it's like to put a team on your back, none of that stuff. When you have a whole bunch of veterans, including Rondo, who've been to playoffs, who've been to finals, who've won championships, who knows what it means to turn it on when necessary. Let's get to these questions, man. G Farron, hey man, great to see you tonight. Good to see you, G. What a win. Playoff LeBron and great Alex Caruso. Loved it. And we saw a great, I'm so glad you said that, man. G, because the important part was I think you're starting to see who Vogel's going to rely on in crunch time, in crunch minutes, because you did not see a bunch of coups. And you really didn't see a bunch of Rondo. What you really saw were the people who stood out and who have been consistent all season that we've been talking about. KCP, Caruso, Dwight. You saw the guys. Avery Bradley, who's made a tremendous uptick. And tonight he didn't do a whole lot of scoring, but he scored 10. And I said this again. If he's going to be efficient, 4 of 8, 2 of 5 from 3, you know what I mean? And giving us double-digit points, that is amazing to us. And he only played 31 minutes, right? Being able to use him, and he's going to be a defensive hound, a dog, like he was tonight. So we saw a little bit of what the playoffs are going to look like, and you better believe Alex Caruso is going to get minutes when it comes to the playoffs. James Michael, good to see you. Thought it seemed we got away from that of that lineup. AD was the three-point shooter with KCP in closing. Yeah, and the reason why AD was a three-point shooter, and there were plays, I don't know if you saw a couple of times coming out of the timeout, LeBron was talking to AD about where he wanted him on the floor because Jokic can't, AD draws him out, and Dwight was doing so much on the rebounding end. Tonight, Dwight Howard had 11 rebounds, okay, in 30 minutes. That's what you want from him, right? And so when you have AD and Dwight on the floor together, it gives AD the ability to shoot from 3 and allows Dwight to get underneath that basket and really cause havoc. Now, Dwight had 5 offensive rebounds. The Nuggets didn't have a second offensive rebound until the second half. Howard was owning them. The plays made sense. AD coming out, Dwight Howard underneath, being able to get the ball back, and plenty of times Dwight would get the ball, go back up, and it would be an and one. And he would actually make the shot and one. So that's what we want. That's what we want. Laker Metropolis, George Sedano and your former Showtime forum boss, Greg Bergman, were talking about the Lakers not having the dog in that having that dog in the team. Alex Caruso is that dog tonight. Yeah, and to be honest, as much as we saw tonight, what we're looking for is to make sure that this happens during the playoffs. I'm not so much worried about the regular season, but I am worried about things like, can we turn this on against the Clippers? Can we turn this on against the Celtics? Can we turn this on against the 76ers? One of the big differences between the Sixers and the Celtics game was that this was kind of like a one-off, right? So the Lakers, on their schedule didn't have a 5-game road trip, but they have a longer road trip coming up. And so can you keep that dog mentality that you had tonight, going into those games? And just to be honest, part of throwing it all out tonight and putting it all out on the floor is knowing that you're going to be off for about 9 days, right? So, LeBron gave it his all tonight, knowing he's going to have a nice, healthy, long rest. And the All-Star game is not going to be work for him, right? So there's a part of that goes, I'm leaving it all out on the floor because I know I'm going to have a good break in a minute. The playoffs, you're not going to have a break, right? You're gonna play game after game after game until you get that championship. But I think the difference is when you can see the end in sight, you play differently. And so tonight, I hope that this was an example for them. They can go back and watch the film and say, if you play with this kind of intensity, you're going to do damage in the playoffs. James Michael, hope AD and LBJ enjoy Chicago. They need rest mentally. And not just rest mentally, but that is important. That is important, James. They do need it mentally because this has been a long, tumultuous season, coming together, high expectations. And then, trying to figure it out in the middle, and then Kobe dying, and there's been injuries, and there's been a whole lot of stuff. And this is the first time that AD has been in this kind of market. He's never had this level of attention before, and you can tell part of that kind of weighs on his brain. Tonight he played with zero regrets, and I love that. But getting away, you're right. Getting back to his hometown of Chicago, getting there with his brother LeBron, being able to kind of walk into the All-Star game together. You know what I mean, as teammates, and being able to walk in for the first time in his life, for AD, being able to walk in and say, I'm number one in the Western Conference, and I'm like the co-contributor to that success. I'm already a lock for Defensive Player of the Year, and don't give me that Gobert stuff. He got yammed on again tonight. So like the idea for him being able to get away and do mental rest is good too, but physical rest is what I'm so excited about. Them having a long extended break, not having to get up for practice, you know what I mean? Not having to get up and go through the normal routine, getting away from the routine, sleeping in if they want, getting out with the fellas, having fun. This team is having fun together. And what I noticed is there was a moment tonight where LeBron slammed. He destroyed that rim. And when he destroyed the rim, they had a delay of game call, not because anybody touched the ball, but because all of the bench players went so nuts and came out on the court that they had to call a delay of game. Well, that tells you how locked in, how much fun this whole team is having. That was a serious moment. It was a serious game. And plenty of people didn't play. Troy Daniels, Quinn Cook, Jared Dudley, these people didn't play. Kuz was only playing 14 minutes, Rondo still, and all of them up, hype, getting hype. That's what you want to see. And then being able to kind of get all together with no basketball, no games, no standings, no playoff record stuff, none of that stuff on the table. It's just us getting together, celebrating what people have acknowledged us for in being all-stars. So, Gary, what do we do with Kuz and Rondo? It seems like they have won. I'll say this. Kuz and Rondo, this is what you need to know, okay? Kuz and Rondo are going to have moments, okay? Moments is what they're going to have, and that's what you want. You just want to be able to maximize their moments, okay? When they have good moments, it works. It works well. When they have good moments, it works well. But when they have bad moments, it's frustrating and it's irritating, right? The truth is that you have to be able to gauge. Frank Vogel's going to have to be able to gauge what exactly is going to be their moments when it comes to certain games and certain playoffs. He was smart tonight by not playing Kuz and not trying to force him into the lineup, not trying to force Rondo into the lineup. Caruso got a lot of those minutes tonight. Really, Caruso almost got like starting minutes tonight. He got pretty close, right? So that's what you want to see. You want to see, can Vogel, manage who has the hot hand? Because last game, I don't think we win that game last game without Rondo, right? And I think he's going to have moments like that. And I think it's going to be up to the coaching staff. Y'all forgive me. I'm trying to get this camera right. There's going to be moments with the coaching staff where they're going to have to be able to gauge, is this the best possible matchup for Kuzma or for Rondo? Is this going to be what's going to, maximize their efficiency? Can Kuzma take advantage of the defensive lineup that's against him from the other team? We don't know. But I'll say this, because there's not going to be any trades, this is the team, okay? You might see a buyout. And I'm saying that's a heavy might. Okay, it's a heavy might. You might see a buyout with, a Quinn Cook. You might see, a J.R. Smith come in. You might see, I'm throwing out names, Trey Burke or whoever, right? Deion Waiters, that's been a name that's been floated around. You can see any one of those players, but the truth is, this is probably going to be the roster that you go with going forward. And if that's the case, and I see what I saw tonight, as long as we know who to put in at the right times, I'm good. And one of the things that Frank Vogel said the last game was he was really trying to go with a 10-man rotation. He ended up going with a 9-man rotation. And generally during the playoffs, an 8 and 9-man rotation is generally where you're going to live. And so you saw tonight that Alex Caruso is going to be in that number, whether it's 8 and or 9. Okay. James Michael, hopefully Kuz would use the break well. I'm not sure that Kuz really needs a break due to his injuries and all that stuff. I think that if it's about the break for him, it's going to be much more about him getting his mind back and ready and getting away from. I think he needs to get away from the game. I think he needs to kind of just get himself, together, remind himself about basketball and how much he loves it, getting back to the fundamentals, not overthinking on the court, not trying to prove himself as a third scorer. That's not a necessity right now. What we need is for him just to know how much he is how capable he is, how high his ceiling is, and then just have fun playing basketball. The same thing that got him into the NBA. He needs to have that same mindset. So hopefully he gets away to do that. Donovan Bryant, 8. Good to see you, my friend. 80 lived at the basket tonight. Can't wait to see him dominate in the playoffs. Neither can I. And this is going to be good for his psyche. It's going to be good for his mentality. One of the bigger reasons why I want us to win a championship this season is not so much just because I want another banner, but it sets a tone for AD going forward. Once he's tasted a championship and he's been mentored by LeBron through the championship process, that he knows what it's like to win one. He knows what it takes. And any star that we bring in post LeBron retirement will be able to trust AD to run that team. And he will become the voice, right? He'll become the guy that sets the tone for the team. Right now it's still LeBron, and AD is kind of like, co-captain with him, like vice president with him. But the truth is that LeBron is giving all he has for these next season, maybe 2, possibly 3, depending on how this goes. And to be honest, if he brings a championship to LA this season, I'm not sure if LeBron's even thinking about extending out the contract. That means he would have won championships on 3 different teams, first time ever. He obviously would have been the MVP of this team this season because of how he's played. And proven, every hater wrong. He can go out on top if he wanted to. So, I think, for AD, him being able to get in the playoffs is one thing, but him being able to win a championship, playing the way he's playing is going to do a lot for his mentality. Young Hefe, wait till we get JR and Waiters and Jeff Green. Jeff Green is literally on everybody's radar every year, and there's a reason why he's available every year. Because Jeff Green is not going to be that kind of contributor. Okay, I'm just telling you right now. This is not the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, Jeff Green would be much more of a liability than he'd be a help. But Waiters and JR could be. Here's the issue: when you're going down to a smaller rotation in the playoffs, who gets the minutes? Right? Do you take away minutes from Caruso for Waiters? Right? And I know what most people are saying was take the minutes away from Rondo. You're not going to take the minutes away from Rondo. He's a veteran. He's been to the playoffs. He's won a championship. You got to trust the veteran leadership in moments like that. It's why you signed him. It's why you signed Danny Green. It's why you have a JaVale McGee. These guys have been there, know what they're doing. So for a Dion Waiters who has not been there, and for a Dion Waiters who's already been suspended 3 times this year in the season, and we're only in February, it's hard to say. It's hard to say what's going to happen with that. I'm starting to feel, I personally am fine with Waiters coming onto the team, and I'm personally fine with JR either way. But I do know this. What I saw tonight proved to me that Alex Caruso has earned not only his spot on the team, but his minutes in the rotation. And I don't want anybody taking away from that because he has earned it. I believe everybody on the team believes he's earned it, with the exception of maybe Rondo, who feels like, that's his competition. But we'll see. Leonard H. Buchanan, Kuzma's starting to disappoint me. Listen, and the cream rises to the top. You're going to have moments where people are going to have to just identify what they want and who they are. And my personal opinion is over the offseason, Kuzma got too much success too soon. I think with the playing with the Team USA and getting the Puma deal and all that other stuff, I think he fell too far into the success category because he survived the trade. He's with AD. He's with LeBron. They're at Summer League talking, chopping it up, and it's like the big 3. Everybody's talking about it. But the truth is that he hasn't earned that. He hasn't earned that spot. He's earned the grace for him to grow. So we'll give him grace to go, okay, you need to grow. But that grace is quickly waning because the championship window for LeBron is getting shorter and shorter. You should have already taken steps. You should have already taken strides in progression in your shot, being much more consistent. You can't do what you did tonight by going 1 of 4, 1 of 3. You had an offensive rebound, but you also had a turnover, right, with 2 personal fouls in 16 minutes. That's not going to help, right? That's not going to help. The only shot you hit was a 3. And that's fine, but that's Troy Daniels level, right? We can get Troy Daniels to come in and shoot a 3 in 16 minutes. He can do that in 4 minutes, right? The difference is that what we're looking for is for you to figure out if you're going to be consistent or not. And we're seeing it. I think right now there's enough of a trend to make us go, yeah, it's not a matter of if he can, it's a matter of does he want to. And the success that he got over the summer, I think, stole some of that hunger. I think it almost made him feel like he arrived. When he got to that summer league, he was excited to prove himself. He was a draft pick. Obviously he wasn't in the top 10, but he was a draft pick, and he wanted to prove that he was worth it. He coming out of Utah, and I want to prove it. And once he proved in summer league that he was a scorer, he got into that first season and proved there, and then he played a little bit better. And then after that, it just kind of was like, I'm here. I'm playing with the Tatums. I'm playing with the Kemba Walkers and stuff on these Olympic teams, and I think it got to him too quick. Robert H. Caruso changed the momentum of the game tonight, and this is what Caruso does every time. What we're looking for Caruso, and I'm glad to see his numbers looking great once again. Going over his numbers, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. You love to see it, and a steal and a block. You love to see that, right? But more than anything, even if Caruso had zeros all the way across the board and he played 20 minutes, you would know that he did something in the game that flipped the momentum. He has the ability to hound defenders, hound offensive players, hound the guards, get on them. He has the ability to, now he's added this to the bag, he has the ability to be aggressive. He's not a very quick guy, but he's very athletic. And he doesn't have a lot of handle. And his shot is very awkward, but he's confident, he's aggressive, and he's athletic. And listen, we used to praise this dude for doing dunks, right? We used to praise him. It would be like, man, if he gets a breakaway, it's about to be over. And the truth is that that's like really like third or fourth in his bag of a repertoire. Like number 1 is going to be his defensive game. Number 2 now is going to be his aggressiveness. And then 3, his ability to play with LeBron. Beautiful cut tonight in a crucial moment where we needed 2 points. And he just went straight to the hoop off of a cut from LeBron, knew exactly where to go, and put it up high off the glass with 2 defenders on him. That's what you want. That's what you want, James Michael, the only way Rondo can play is if he is the only non-shooter. But with that, it's still iffy. Yeah, because what ends up happening, and you guys have kind of seen this already, what ends up happening is the teams begin to sag off and they double, especially because we have length. They'll double the bigs in the paint. AD backing in or JaVale waiting for, a lob. And they'll double off. And so they'll go under screens and things like that. And they'll dare Rondo to shoot. Now, last game he was 4 or 5. He did great. And he was aggressive at the cup in the whole 9. But that was also the Phoenix Suns. So for him, he's going to have to, figure out is he great with his shot. And there was a great video by Swish Cultures that was showing Phil Handy working with Rondo on threes. And it was if you get a chance, go check out the video. It literally, the title says Phil Handy working with Rondo. But if you see how he shoots maybe 6 to 7 threes and misses them all. And then he goes on a streak of hitting like 5 in a row. And then he misses more. And that's really what Rondo is. He's going to be streaky on both ends. He's going to miss a lot of shots, and then he'll make a lot of shots. And you don't know how long which streak is going to go. You don't know if he's going to shoot great for multiple games. Tonight, obviously, he did not, which is one of the reasons why Caruso got more minutes. Or if he's going to do like he did the other night and go off. So we don't know. But we'll see what happens. Donovan Bryant 8 didn't see a whole lot of JaVale either. And that was mainly because Dwight was doing such an incredible job on Jokic. If you noticed tonight, every time that Jokic was in, Dwight was primarily in. And there was even a moment where towards the end of the game, Vogel pulled out Avery Bradley, put in Howard, and immediately Mike Malone calls Jokic off the bench because that's the matchup that works best. JaVale doesn't do good with body work, but and Jokic is going to throw his shoulder on you. He's a thick guy. And Howard, if you've noticed, Howard gets called for more illegal screens. And a lot of times, I don't think it's his fault. I think people just don't realize you're running into a brick wall. He may not be as athletic as he used to be, with the Superman stuff, but he is still built solid as a rock. His body is like that dude is a grown man. And so, he handles Jokic well. And when he's not doing it, Anthony Davis was. And so JaVale really wasn't necessary tonight because AD and Howard were doing such a great job. DFS Wildcat, Dwight was a dog on the inside. Just need to work on them free throws. Yeah, man. And what's really funny is tonight his free throw shooting was technically probably it was better than LeBron. He went 6 of 12, so obviously he went 50%, which is around his average, lowest of his career. But LeBron went 1 of 4. It's strange. Like the Lakers over this last 6 or 7 seasons, but even before LeBron got here, we have struggled with free throws so much. And one of the things that I love about Anthony Davis is he's an 86% free throw shooter. Tonight he went 6 of 9. But you know that when you foul him, you're fouling one of our best free throw shooters. KCP is also very competent with it as well. But for us, it's one of those weaknesses that your praying doesn't show up at inopportune times. Like, I was really praying that we got to the end of that game. I was praying that, LeBron wouldn't get fouled and have to go to the free throw line to shoot two to win the game. Unfortunately, I hate saying that, but I don't think that's where LeBron is going to be great. And I also don't think that's where Dwight's going to be great, right? Robert H. Great to see LeBron not settling for jump shots. He is unstoppable when he drives and gets in the paint. Absolutely. It wasn't even him picking his spots tonight. He made a decision. He was going to stuff that thing down their throats, and he did it. He did it well. And it wasn't just not him settling. It was him going all out for loose balls. It was him getting excited. It was him pounding his chest. It was him not complaining to the refs about certain things. It was him playing defense tonight. Dude was like, he was playing mad defense tonight. Like, that's the LeBron that I love and I know, and I also know this, just being sober-minded with it, he can't give you too many more of those, right? I really want him to be able to turn that on when necessary, but what I would love to see is if the rest of the team could really set the tone for that and let LeBron just kind of be behind the team, adding in supplemental points and assists and rebounds. We needed every point, assist, and rebound that he gave us tonight with his triple-dub. But, when you have Anthony Davis as well, who's putting up 33 points, and LeBron putting up 32 points, it makes you feel good about your future and what it's going to look like in the playoffs. Jaden Whitaker, LeBron should never dive on the floor like that in the regular season. This was not a regular season game, guys. This was the reason why this game was so important. Wasn't just to prove that we can beat Denver, but to go into the All-Star break up with that. We're already up by 2.5 games, but being able to extend that to basically 4 games is one thing. To lose that game and only be up by 2, you come out of your All-Star break worried. You come out here, you don't feel as comfortable coming out. So you need that win. You need that win to be able to go into the next set of your schedule and have a little bit of a cushion in this Western Conference race, because it's about to get nuts. If you think tonight was crazy, you just wait till that All-Star break is over. Like with the Trailblazers, they're trying to make a push. All these teams are literally trying to make a push. What's great for us, it's like the 4 or 5 seed is like 7 or 8 games behind us. So, even if we had a slip-up, we're talking about the top 2 or 3. But I believe we're going to finish with the number 1 seed. And it was good to see LeBron set the tone to say, listen, when we're playing, we're playing. I want to see him do the same thing against the Clippers. Laker fan and Dodgers fan. Kuzma trash, though. Listen, man, I don't want to call him trash, but he's definitely not living up to expectation. Rogers Green, Anthony Davis 215, should have traded him. Yeah, you can say that. We can say that. And that it's not. This is me not. I'm not trying to cape up for him or defend for him or any of those things. What you're looking for is this. Will this hit? I'll put it this way. So, my wife and I like to frequent Las Vegas every now and again. We're going this summer, as a matter of fact. And my wife kind of has a rule. Her rule is that I'm going to stick with something if I know the payout is going to be great. Even if I'm losing, the payoff is going to make up for all that I lost. If that's pretty much that's her mentality. So she plays, a little bit higher than what I do. I play nickel slots and stuff like that. She's more in like the $5, $10 range when she starts pulling, right? But she does it because she has seen payoff that has been tremendous. Now, me personally, I work hard for my money. So I don't want to see $5 and $10 going away with one pull. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, I don't have enough patience to wait for the payoff, right? For her, she has enough to wait for the payoff. We have a team that is good enough where Kuzma can play 14 minutes, score 3 points, and we can still win on the road in OT. So you have enough time to really have to really like the payout will be great. It's costing us a lot right now. These are valuable minutes that we really wish he was contributing a lot more so that you're not putting so much weight on Anthony Davis and LeBron James. But the truth is that if he pops at the right time, that payoff, I'm just throwing this out there hypothetically, and I know we're tired of hypotheticals when it comes to this guy. But if he pops right before the playoffs and he turns into what KCP did earlier on this year, and now we have a consistent KCP, a consistent Avery Bradley, a consistent Kuzma going into the playoffs, you will forgive the sins of the regular season if he turns into something towards the playoffs. Now, that's if he does. Trend is showing he may not. But I know personally, the team is set up so that you can withstand a bad Kuzma and a bad Rondo for that matter. So We've shown it. The record has shown it. 41 wins tonight, 41-12. We've shown that, right? We've shown that. We've even shown that we can win games without AD or without LeBron or without both and still win. We've pulled that off. I'm sorry, man. I lost where I was at. Jason Jeter. Pleasure to see you, sir. Looked at the schedule and March is brutal. Glad they built some cushion. Exactly my point. March is going to be the test of a champion. That's going to be our playoff preview. We're going to be seeing teams. They're going to be coming at us hard. I'm almost positive the standings are still going to be as close as they are right now. Clippers and Celtics coming to the home. And, we're playing teams, man. We're going at them. And we need to make sure that we have a cushion in case we do falter. Donovan Bryant, 8. The second quarter was amazing. The second quarter was what swung that game. Not necessarily in points because the lead still changed after that. But what it did was it swung the momentum. It changed the mentality and atmosphere of that team. And it quickly became a winnable game because we had fallen behind by 13. Falling behind by 13 going into the All-Star break. You're already 40-12. You lose the game, you're still number 1 seed. You can beat this team. But the second quarter showed that we can turn it on even when other people think we don't care. Laker fan and Dodgers fan. Sign Dion Waiters, our own Lou Williams. I wouldn't put Dion Waiters in that category. Let me first say that. He is good. But once again, guys, we have to think about this. Don't stare at stats. That's how people overlooked Caruso for so long. You don't look at stats. What you look at is, does his mentality, does his production match the culture of the team? And I'm sorry, but if somebody came to me and said, hey, I want you to drive the keys to the car. Like, let's say I need someone to drive me. And I need to go somewhere. I'm tired. I need someone to drive me. And I have a list of people. Let's say I have 4 people who are like, hey, I'll drive you. Right? And one person's record says, I've had my license suspended 3 times in the last 5 months. Okay? I'm much more hesitant to give him the keys. In fact, I would rather stay home than to give him the keys. When you look at Dion Waiter, what you're asking to give the keys to the team to somebody to run a second unit, to run a culture that's already set. But on his record are 3 suspensions already. Okay? There was a reason why he was traded, and there's a reason why he was released, and there's a reason, okay? There's a reason. And listen, and one of the most well-run organizations in the NBA is the Miami Heat, okay? Pat Riley runs an incredible organization, and if it doesn't work there, that should tell you something. It's not saying that he's trash. It's not saying that he can't play, but it should tell you that there is a warning sign, and all the warning signs are there. This is kind of what we did with Dwight Howard. The difference was Dwight Howard came in saying what needed to be said. I know I've been playing. I know I've been bad. I know my mind has been out. I'm refocused. I'm recentered. I want to give it another try. Give me another chance. Going with a non-guaranteed contract. All of that. Okay. He came in with the proper posture for us to sign him. To go, okay, you know what? You're worth the risk. Unguaranteed contract. Show us what you got. And he let his production and his team chemistry prove that he deserved a guaranteed contract. Now you're talking about Dion Waiters. Is he coming in with that posture? Is he coming in apologizing for his antics and overdosing on CBD gummies and all that stuff? Like, is he going to be able to fess up to that stuff, have a real conversation with LeBron and AD? And I think they're going to have that, because that's where it's going to start. Can you play? Absolutely. But if you can't come in and fit with this culture and come in humble, like you don't deserve to be on this team, we're giving you a chance to be on this team. If he comes in with that attitude, we're going to be good. But I don't think J.R. Smith already knows that. J.R. Smith knows that if I get on the team, I've been balling out in China, but if I get on the team, it's because I have to come in humble. I don't know if Dion Waiters thinks the same way. Wayne, crazy how people talk about this team with their flaws. I love this team as constructed. Listen, man, on nights like this, we love it. On nights where we get blown out by the Celtics, we hate it. And on nights when we blow out the Suns, we love it. On nights we get blown out by the 76ers, we hate it. To be honest, we're always going to swing based upon how the night went. But tonight shows you, and I'm actually with you, Wayne. I believe the same thing that LeBron said, the same thing that Kobe said, rest his soul, that this team has enough. It's not a matter of we have enough talent. It's can they turn it on? And tonight they showed they can turn it on. Blake St. Clair, hey man, good to see you, bro. That was a glimpse of the playoff rotation, and I'm okay with it. Absolutely. And as long as you have this man right here, number 23, running that, listen, you are in good shape. You're good to go because he showed he can facilitate, he can be aggressive, he can score, and listen, he can set the tone by laying it all out in an OT game. You know what I mean? Laker fan, Dodgers fan, get a YouTube channel, man. We actually do have a YouTube channel. Showtime 4 has a YouTube channel. It's generally going to be this, but we have more content coming up. Laker fan, Dodger fan, you actually know your stuff. Respect, OG. Def know the game. Hey, man, I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. And I see you're a Dodgers fan, and you already know how I feel about that. This is going to be 2 championships in LA 2020. Mark that down. Laker Metropolis, AD and LeBron are not getting fouls in their favor, so they shouldn't focus on those missed calls. And I think there has to be a conversation about that. Guys, we got to be honest and we got to be real. The way the referees were calling games worked in our favor tonight, but it was vastly unfair. There was actually a play, legitimately. Even Van Gundy, who was commentating the game, said they're grabbing AD's arm. And AD couldn't even get the rebound because they were grabbing his arm and pulling him down. He couldn't jump up. And he got 0 calls. There was one play. He went up for a rebound. A Nugget player pushed him in the back. He fell on top of another a Nugget player. And AD got called for the foul for falling inadvertently on somebody else. Like, that kind of stuff is frustrating, but it also is a sign that this is a championship year for the Lakers. Because when Kobe and Shaq were playing, they fouled Shaq like it was nobody's business. And people forget this as well. When it was Kobe and Powell, they were treating Powell they were destroying that dude on the inside. I don't know if you guys remember that. There was a whole little thing about put on your big boy pants, and it was this whole idea about Pau Gasol having to man up. And there's a very, very famous clip where Pau Gasol goes for an and one and screams, which is the antithesis of Pau 2 years prior. And so, when you start seeing the Lakers fighting through non-calls, referees swallowing the whistle, and they're doing what they did tonight, Dwight Howard going for an and one and screaming, that right there is a sign that something has awoken in them. And that's what you want to see. You want to see your team going for and ones. Forget the missed calls. Let's just go for it. And here's the key. If I win a championship despite the missed calls, it just makes the championship that much more sweeter. And it also prepares you for the playoffs, because in the playoffs, they're going to call it pretty much like that. They're going to call it pretty loose. Blake Sinclair, LeBron and AD over 40 minutes, and all we need is 3 more players to contribute, and Lakers can beat any team in a 7-game series. I absolutely believe it. And I believe Caruso is going to be a huge ordeal with that. And here's the thing, too. I still believe in a Troy Daniels when necessary. I think if we need to get quick threes and buckets, I believe he can add to that. I know I'm probably the only person on earth who would say that, but I know he's a defensive liability in the whole nine. But I believe we have people in place that can do what's necessary when it's time. The issue is that when they don't do it, it makes you question, is it their skill or is it their hunger? Because people who are hungry, like even the Nuggets were hungry tonight. They were shooting. There were no-name guards, people that we didn't even know, who were aggressive, going at Bron, talking at him. If we have that same mindset with our people, and they're coming in, and they're playing like that, and they're talking like that, and they're aggressive like that, that's how you know that we have the people that we need, even if they don't necessarily score an additional 20 to 80s, and Bron's 30 and 32 and 33 points. We need someone who's going to be able to keep the intensity up. Laker fan, that's right, absolutely right. That's right, Blake Sinclair. The last play of the fourth quarter was still a little suspect. 80 in the corner, and LeBron settling for a jumper over the smaller defender. That's when you get the two-man game going down low. Truthfully, I'm saying something. I'm wearing this jersey, and I fully believe in you, Bron, if you watch this. The truth is that in late game situations, Bron does not want to go to the free throw line. He was 1 of 4 tonight. Okay, not only he could easily get to the cup, but if you watched, he held the ball, called Caruso over for the screen to get the switch, and you would think in your mind you want to switch so that you can drive, but the truth is he wanted to switch so he can get the jumper off. He wanted to get the person who was probably going to, if anything, sag off of him, afraid that he was going to drive. LeBron does not want to go to the free throw line. I hate saying that, but I'm going to be honest. If I've scored 30 points and I've been getting to the cup in the whole nine, and I've shot 1 of 4 from the free throw line, and it's clutch time right now. And if I get fouled and I blow these 2 free throws, not only has the clock stopped, I give them the ball back, and they can score and win the game. I would rather run the clock all the way out, try jumping. If I can't, I'll just get into OT and I'll attack them that way. It's not ideal. It's not good. It's kind of not what we're used to. Same with Kobe. Kobe was the exact opposite. Kobe would go in, look for contact, and get to that free throw line because he knew that I'm automatic from here. He's basically Jordan from the line. LeBron is not that, and I think his self awareness and knowing that we're gonna have to give grace to him in that area. He's not a great free throw shooter, guys. He's just not, and he's not a good. And he's especially worse in clutch moments. Last 3 minutes of the game, he's abysmal. Okay, guys, he's abysmal. He missed 2 free throws tonight. 3 tonight, really, but he missed 2 in a row. Like that, it's unfortunate. We all know he can drive. We all know he can do it. In those clutch moments, though, I think the better of his mentality gets to him, and he can't do it. Reggie Pascal, you actually just said what I said. Why can't LeBron hit a free throw, bro? I don't know, man. I don't know. And every giant, every huge person has a kink in their game. They have this one thing that's the weakness, the Achilles heel of their game. Shaq had it. Kobe had it. Even Magic had it for a little bit. Magic wasn't a tremendous shooter when he came into the league, and he really never really was. I mean, he was a decent shooter, but he wasn't that guy. And in an NBA where the league is constantly changing and things like that, it's just LeBron has struggled with that his entire career. And think about this: somebody did some kind of study, right? Like, if LeBron would have made just half of all the missed threes in his career, the dude, like, his stats would be insane. Like, literally, his stats would be insane. Like he would be much closer to becoming the all-time leading scorer in the NBA. But the truth is, he's just not good at it, and that's his weakness. Is that great driver, incredible vision. Nobody has the physical stature of him. Denver did just the weirdest things tonight. Like, they would not double LeBron for some reason. He would get switched onto a small guy. He got switched onto Gary Harris and back Gary Harris all the way down to the rim. Like, I don't know what teams are thinking is supposed to happen. I don't know if they're afraid he's going to pass it out. But as soon as you see Bron backing down on somebody who's 6'4", you need to send help immediately. Help that man. Because LeBron James, he wants that. He got to have that. When he sees that is barbecue chicken alert. And he sees it and he goes for it. But when you get to the free throw line, teams know he's probably going to miss that. So, Derek Jan Jeter, Devon, really enjoy the show, man. And thanks for all the analysis you do. Thank you so much, man. And listen, I'm very, very novice at the analysis part. If you get a chance, we have a guy for Showtime. His name is Ben. Ben's. I can't remember his handle. I'll tweet it out on my thing. If Jonathan, if you're on here, man, if you're tweeting, put his handle in there. But he's amazing with analytics and stats. But there's so many stats, guys, that I haven't even brought out. But when we get to the playoffs, before we get to the playoffs, I'm going to do a special pre-playoff show where we're going to walk through the stats of the season so you guys can see how dominant this team is. Like, most people don't know, Dwight Howard ranked second in rebounds in all the NBA off the bench. Like, as much as we talk about the bench, Dwight Howard is the second ranked. He's the second greatest rebounder off the bench in all of the NBA, guys. Think about that. He's on our team, and we already have AD. Like, that's a tremendous thing to know, that when you're going into the playoffs, I had the second best rebounder coming off the bench. Like, that's crazy. Wayne, do you think Rondo is pacing himself for the playoffs? Him, Kuz, KCP will thrive in the playoffs. I think let me answer that 2 ways. Let me answer that first with my fan side. My fan side says he's going to step up. Playoff P is going to turn into somebody that we need. He's going to hit clutch moments. He may not score 25, 23 points, but he's going to dish. He's going to be active. He's going to be very, very aggressive with his offensive end, with his decision making. That's what I believe. Now, if I go to my statistical trend in a vacuum side, there's nothing I've seen this year in Rondo that would make me believe all of a sudden he's going to turn into that. But the truth is, New Orleans, he did it. Chicago, he did it. With the Celtics, he did it. Like, he's just known that when we get into the playoffs, something clicks for him. And I don't know how much of it is the team dynamic and shorter rotations and just knowing that you're going to be good, or if it's just something that he literally turns on. Kuz has never been to the playoffs. And so the truth is, I don't know what he's going to be. I don't know what's going to look like for him if he scores 2 points on game 1 and then has to come back game 2 and play the same exact team. I don't know what his mentality is going to be. And I think for KCP has survived the mental war that he had to go through. And kudos to him, man, for being so open about anxiety and all of those things, because these are real things that real humans deal with. And we forget these people are human beings before they're athletes. Their athletic ability is something that we are graced to watch, and we have the privilege of watching. We pay money to watch that stuff. But the truth is that they still have internal battles that go on inside their head. And he fought that battle at the beginning of the season. He fought himself out of the funk. He fought himself out of potential depression and played his way back in. And even tonight, like, listen, guys, tonight he wasn't tremendous tonight. He played 34 minutes and had 9 points. But we know the KCP that we used to know was the one who made very bad decisions and just did crazy stuff. KCP had 0 turnovers tonight and played 34 minutes. The KCP that we knew prior would have like 9 turnovers in that. You play in 34 minutes. But he knows his role. He played his role. He shot 3 of 7 from three-point land. He was active on defense. I think that is going to be his trend all the way through the playoffs. I'm hoping for Rondo to become what we believe he can be. Kuz is going to be the anomaly. And I'm telling you, I'm just being honest. I am quite all right if they cut Kuz's minutes in the playoffs if he's not consistent. That's going to be probably what he needs to get himself back into the gym. Because I think, just to be honest, I think he needs to be brought down a little bit. I think he's a little bit high on the offseason stuff that he's gotten a chance to do. And this is not me, dissing him or any of those things. But I think we need to be honest with ourselves and go, what is really causing Kuzma not to play like the Kuzma we know he can be? And it has to be distractions. It has to be. Laker fan and Dodger fan, you like Troy Daniels, but he has no playoff experience. I'd rather have J.R. Smith more experience. Now, I will say that. If you gave me the choice between Troy Daniels and J.R. Smith, I'm easily going with J.R. Smith in the playoffs. Not only because he has playoff experience, but he has playoff experience, finals experience with LeBron. Now, he's made some dumb mistakes, but he knows how to play in the playoffs. He's a savvy vet. I don't know. I really don't know what the Lakers are going to do, to be honest with you. I think it would be great to see J.R. Smith come in, and on nights like tonight where Kuz is struggling, throw a J.R. Smith in there to light a fire underneath Kuz and be like, man, if you ain't playing well, you ain't getting no minutes. I think right now he's just kind of assumed he was getting minutes because everybody thought he was going to be the third best player. But the truth is, he statistically, he kind of was for the majority of the season. He was our third leading scorer for the majority of the season. But he's just not that guy, okay? Blake St. Clair, that's why it's a two-man game with AD. AD can handle and shoot free throws, so he needs to take a bigger role in late-game situations. Absolutely! LeBron James, as much as I love him, and tonight he was aggressive in the whole nine, we need to start seeing the transition of what the future is going to look like for us. LeBron has played 17 seasons, and we've had a chance to, he's playing in his 17th season, we've had a chance to watch him play with multiple teams, win championships on multiple teams. Obviously, he's come over to us, and we're looking for another championship there. But we want to be able to see what our future is going to look like post-LeBron, and AD is our future. AD is going to sign with the Lakers again. I don't know why people keep thinking he's going to go somewhere else. But we need to start seeing, can AD handle the fourth quarter by himself? Because what we saw at the Pelicans, he can. What we saw with the Pelicans is he needs a Boogie and a Rondo to really succeed in the playoffs. So I want to see now. And I don't know if there's a plan for it, but LeBron said we're going to run our offense through AD. What he didn't tell us was up until the fourth quarter. And then we're going to run it through me. But, and I get it. I get it. They're in awe of him. And I think we all are. Age 35, 17th year in the league, and putting up numbers that he's putting up. And I mean, the dude is athletic as all get out. Has one of the most iconic photos that we'll ever see in our lifetime. That was just taken the other night. So like it's a lot to be enamored by with LeBron. The truth is, though, he's not the future of the Lakers. He's the present. And we want to be able to see the present and the future begin to have the baton, the baton handoff, and see that in the fourth quarter. Give it down to AD and let him go with it. But just to be honest, just kind of bringing another side to that, if I were being devil's advocate, the Nuggets tonight were really leaving so much on the table for LeBron. They were just so worried about the offensive rebounds. You could tell Mike Malone was making adjustments at the half and even going into OT because they were being destroyed on the O boards. And they were making adjustments to where it was almost like they didn't want AD to have the ball, and every time he got the ball, they would double him. A lot of AD's points came hard tonight, and if it didn't come from three, he had to get into the paint, and it was rough. Okay, it was rough. But LeBron was left so much space. And like I said, they weren't doubling him when he was backing down people like Gary Harris and that guy, whatever the other guy's name was. And he was getting away with everything tonight. So it was one of those things where it was like, you're going to leave me open, I'm going to go for it. Laker Metropolis, Devon greater than Corporate. Greg Bergman will always and forever be the GOAT. I want y'all to know that. Ben Holtz, that's his name. Guys, Jonathan, thank you so much for that, bro. Ben Holtz, at Ben Holtz on Twitter. We'll give you more statistical analysis about so many things. And I've learned so much about where this team stands. And to be honest, when I feel like I'm really high on the team, he gives me stats that really make me feel a little bit more down to earth, so I'm sober-minded. And when I'm feeling really low on the team, he gives me statistics to give me hope. So he's going to give you the full gamut, but I'm telling you, like tonight, he can give you just incredible breakdown stuff. And it's stuff it's easily accessible. It's public access stuff, but it takes a special mind to think about certain statistics that you're looking for. Danny Green is trash. KYS. He's not trash. I'm gonna say so, guys. And KYS. I'm not sure if it's Kiss or whatever. Welcome to the show, bro, ma'am. I'm not sure which one it is, but I'll say this. I've been saying this since the beginning of the season. Danny Green costs a lot of money. We paid him a lot of money to come to us and not go back to the Raptors or the Mavericks or even possibly the Clippers. But the reason why we signed him was not for any production during the year, not during the season. It's great. We want him to be able to hit threes when necessary, and he's proven he can do that. We wanted him to play defense, and he's proven he can do that. But what we signed him up for was to be Danny Green in the playoffs. We've seen it with the Spurs. Of course, we saw it when he got traded to the Raptors. Danny Green is a playoff player. I can't explain it, don't know what it is about it, but there are certain people who play differently in the playoffs. And I guess maybe that is Rondo. But some people play differently in the playoffs. Some for the better, some for the worse. Okay? And Danny Green is going to be, what you're paying him for is to be the clutch man when necessary. We saw that in the beginning of the season when they did the hammer screen, opened him up for the corner three, and that's why they gave him the name Deadshot. Okay? But when it's crucial moments, he doesn't feel pressure the way other people do. Number one, because he's won multiple championships now. Okay, he's won multiple championships with multiple teams. Okay, just to be honest with you, it's kind of the same thing that Bron did. Okay, so Bron won in Cleveland, Bron won in Miami, Danny Green won in San Antonio, and he won in Toronto. So he's been with multiple teams and done that. And ironically, if Bron wins this with the Lakers, technically, Danny Green will also join him in the ranks of being a person who won championships with three different teams. And the difference is LeBron is leading this team. Danny Green is not. But Danny Green is being paid to be on this team to be effective in moments that we are trusting the veterans to step up above these young guys who haven't been there before. AD has been to the playoffs, but he's never been to a championship or never been to a finals. And he's never had that expectation on him. It's been an eternal desire of his. But no pundit was saying the New Orleans Pelicans are going straight to the finals. Nobody was saying that. So Danny Green is there to kind of coach through that. Same thing with Jared Dudley. Most people would have cut Jared Dudley a long time ago, right? But Jared Dudley is necessary because you're looking for him to do certain things when it matters. Be a veteran on the floor, be able to keep the young guys and the culture going. We signed people for certain things, and Danny Green was not signed for regular season production. Are you worried about LeBron's minutes at age 35 that may, God forbid, he gets injured or gets worn out? If LeBron ain't been injured by now, listen, tonight I thought it was a wrap. When LeBron went down that floor for that loose ball and he's just laid there, I was like, man, this is Christmas Day all over again. But I think he's going to be good. I think the return of Judy Cito back to the staff, the one who was just great at keeping Kobe going. I think being able to have people who know how to handle LeBron medically, I think makes a difference. I also think that he is kind of load managing himself, to be honest with you. And the key for me is in knowing all this, nobody spends more time on their body and more money on their body than LeBron James. And so, am I worried? Slightly. Like I said, when we're about to get into the schedule right now, I'm more worried about, in moments like this, I want him playing 42 minutes. But when we're playing the Suns, I want him playing 28 to 30 minutes max, right? And it's up to the second unit, and really, to be honest, AD. I think AD needs to play as many minutes as possible to keep his conditioning up. I'm really worried that over the All-Star break, he's going to lose a little bit of his step and his pep. But we'll see. But for LeBron, I think he knows what he's doing. I think I trust him with that. Laker fan, Dodgers fan. Lakers win the chip with the Dodgers. All for Kobe would be the best story ever written. It would be something that would go down, and literally in the sports canon. This would be something where it would be not about a team that won something, but about a city that recovered from something. And, I'm all the way out here in Houston, and I was having a conversation with somebody who was trying to figure out why it's such a big deal, and I can't communicate it to her. I couldn't communicate to her why it was such a big deal for Kobe dying and why it was making such a huge impact all the way across the nation. And the truth is that we have Laker fans everywhere. Even in tonight in the Nuggets, they were saying, "Let's go Lakers" in Denver. Okay, we have fans everywhere, but those fans are connected to a city, and the people who represent that city represent us. And so Kobe Bryant was our fan. He was our hero. He was our guy. When he was a villain, he was still our guy. When he was, when him and Shaq were going through it, he was still our guy. Kobe was our guy, just like Magic is our guy. Magic has been up and down with us, and we still love Magic because when you represent our city and you do things for our city, you are forever ingrained in our hearts. And so, I think if the Lakers and the Dodgers win, it on the same year, the same seasonal year, fiscal year that Kobe tragically dies, I think you can't find another sports story that makes more sense. Not Cleveland, not the Miracle Mets, none of that. None of it will match up to that kind of lore. Laker Metropolis, Danny Green is a defensive asset, exactly, and I keep forgetting to say this. He brings over the Popovich culture. Okay, he is a trained Popovich vet when it comes down to how to handle pressure and how to handle sucking for long periods of time, and that's what made the Spurs so undeniably great is that they just stayed even keel. And no matter what, he could have a 0 for 9 shooting night, and when it came down to being clutch and doing what you had to do and playing within the system in clutch moments, he would do it. That's what you want Danny Green to do. Danny Green last year in the playoffs versus Bucks averaged 3-point shooting, 18%. You sure? Yeah, but here's the key. Once again, it's about him doing what's necessary when necessary. The reason why the Bucks and the Raptors were such a big deal, like there's no way Danny Green was going to shoot over that length. But that's not what they needed him to do, to be honest. That wasn't the necessity of him in that time. What was a necessity for him was to be able to play defense and lock down. And they won a championship not just because Kawhi played, but because Danny Green came with him. You take Danny Green off of that team, there's no way Kawhi wins that championship. There's a reason why that everybody just assumed that Kawhi and Danny Green were going to be a package deal if they were going back to Toronto. It's a legacy race this year between LeBron and Kawhi. Kawhi's legacy is not going to match up to LeBron's. I'm sorry. I know Kawhi is the hot commodity right now, but there is nobody who has done more and maximized more with their time than LeBron James. Nobody is doing production the way they're doing it right now. While people are load managing, LeBron is laying it all out for his team. Nobody has been able to galvanize and do things on and off the court the way LeBron has. His legacy is cemented forever. Kawhi's will never be able to match that. We're not even getting into the records. We haven't even gotten to the records, okay? Kawhi's not going to meet half of the records that LeBron has done. Kawhi's a tremendous player. First ballot Hall of Famer, perennial All-Star. Absolutely. But he is not on LeBron's level. Blake Sinclair, who gets the 3 championships first as the lead player? Oh, that's going to be LeBron. Absolutely. He's going to be the first one. People question the Miami years because they don't know if he really was the lead one, but I really do think he was the lead by being mentored, like with Yoda in the background with Dwayne Wade. What is Ben Holtz? Ben Holtz is one of our guys. Harris. He's one of our guys with Showtime for him. He's actually all the way out in Australia, but he's a tremendous asset to our organization and what we do. And he's constantly throwing out things that just make you think about basketball differently. And so I suggest everybody follow him. Blake Sinclair on 3 different teams. Yeah, on 3 different teams, exactly. You know why I'm here. How's the Afro Sheen working for that dome? Winston's mobile apps, Kuz looked lost tonight. He did, man, and you hate to see that. You hate to see it. These are the games where you really want Kuzma to show that he can be that guy. But like I said, the trend is showing that he's just not that guy right now, and you're praying that he has a Avery Bradley moment. Who we were like, take him out, don't ever put him back in the game. Keep KCP in, let him start. But Avery Bradley has been one of our more consistent 3-point shooters in the last several games. KCP is still reliable as well. They both hit 3s tonight. But, I think Kuzma, we're looking for Kuzma to have that moment where it's like, he woke up. There's the Kuzma we know. And Trend is saying it's probably not going to happen. Without being biased right now, can you honestly say we can beat the Clippers in the playoffs? Laker fan and Dodgers fan. Yes. And let me tell you why I'm not being biased. Even the times that we've lost to the Clippers, the games have been close until a point. The issue that the Lakers have is generally when we get to the fourth quarter, which is why tonight was so big. Generally in the fourth quarter, something happens and we turn off. AD doesn't play as well as he normally does. LeBron starts turning the ball over heavy. We don't make free throws. Okay, that's where teams normally. If teams can hang with us until the fourth, generally we lose those games. So tonight kind of showed me that we have the ability we've kind of gotten over a hump, right? Where when it comes down to crunch time, tonight what we saw, I can't name another game this season where we saw the team turn it on the way they did tonight. I mean, the energy was from the very first play all the way through the end of OT. The intensity was incredible. Even getting the last rebound that was necessary. KCP getting the steal in the lane to seal the deal. I haven't seen that level of energy from this team all season. I've seen spurts of it, but not consistently. And if that's going to be the team that we're going to see after All-Star break, I believe that we can beat the Clippers in a 7-game series. I also know that the Clippers aren't really sure what they want to do. I think the Clippers can get up for a game, but they've proven that multiple games in a row are a problem for them. They don't have a lot of streaks. Okay? Toronto streak just ended. We've had multiple 8-win, 9-win, 7-win streaks. They haven't had a lot of those because they have a hard time putting together games. And so would we lose a couple games to the Clippers? Absolutely, in the playoffs. Would we beat them all the way in a 7-game series? I believe so. Sorry, my last 3 comments were meant as one. It's a legacy race this season between LeBron and Kawhi to get 3 rings and 3 teams as the lead player. Oh, thank you. I see what you're saying. I still put Kawhi in a weird category with the Spurs thing. I just don't know. I guess technically he was a lead player, but it's just hard when you have a Ginobili and a Parker, and I know he was the best player amongst them, but it's just a little bit different with that, right? LeBron is a true leader with the Cleveland Cavaliers because he controlled everything. Lakers obviously controlled everything, and like I said, Miami's a little shaky. Should there be? I'm gonna get to these last few comments, and we're gonna go to the. I'm going overtime, and then we're gonna get to the standings. Laker Metropolis. Should there even be a lineup with Kuz without Rondo? I don't know. I really don't know what Kuz is or where his best lineup is. I'm gonna do some research tonight to kind of figure out where their best lineup is. But the truth is, I don't know where Kuz fits. I really don't know where Kuz fits. He's really one of those guys where it's when he does play well, it almost seems like it's like a strike of lightning that you just didn't see coming. And when he plays horrible, you're like, man, it really feels like this lineup would suit you well. There's no Braun, there's no AD on the floor. You should be able to flourish right now, but for whatever reason, it doesn't happen. How can Frank work it where Caruso has more minutes than Rondo until the playoffs? I think it's going to be based upon play. Frank Vogel seems to be he's very much a adjusting coach. So he adjusts at half. If somebody's hot, he'll keep them in. Tonight, Caruso was obviously aggressive on the offensive end, was active in the passing lanes with his hands, was a hound on defense. So it made more sense to play him tonight. But last game, Rondo was hot. So it made more sense to keep Caruso on the bench because Rondo was just playing well. So it's hard to say what's going to give one more minutes. I think it's going to be based upon who comes out aggressive, who's doing well, and we're going to ride that hand. Laker fan and Dodgers fan, we showed that versus the Mavericks. I think LeBron went crazy. Yeah, and the Mavericks is an up and down team. I think the Nuggets, even though they're really not to me a championship contender, I think they're better put together, better coached in my opinion. I know Rick Carlisle's a great coach, but I like Mike Malone. Is a little bit better to me than the Mavericks. Okay, so I like the Nuggets. The Nuggets seem to be a little bit better than the Mavericks to me. But either way, you're right. Braun went nuts on both of them, which shows that if we got to, had to play one of those guys in a series, we can knock them out. Can we beat the Bucks in the finals? Kiss. Right now, no. And the reason why is because I don't know what you do with Giannis. But I also know that Giannis has a propensity to turn himself off when he gets to the playoffs. And he's developed a jump shot and a 3-pointer and all that stuff. But life is different and pressure is different in the playoffs. And he's shown that when the lights get brightest, he tends to have a problem. He's cruising through the regular season. It's the East Coast. The Eastern Conference ain't nothing. They're going through that. And, obviously they're handling business against Western Conference teams too. But I don't know. If Giannis doesn't do well, then the team suffers. They lost tonight, right? Because Giannis didn't play tonight. And congratulations to him, having the new baby, first-time dad. I had a shirt underneath this talking about being a dad. To make it quantifiable, first to 3 finals MVPs on 3 different teams and winning all 3. Blake St. Clair. Yeah, that's going to be a crazy one. But I'm going to be honest. This is not bias or shade. I don't think the Clippers are making the finals, guys. I just don't. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Something is terribly wrong. So, I can't tell you what it is, but something's wrong there. Caruso played smart tonight. The key play was when he set AD up and calling for LeBron to pass. Yep. Yeah, that was something that somebody pointed out on Twitter too during the game. It's the small things that Caruso does that if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it and you'll think that he really had no effect on that play. But even some of the rebounds that AD got tonight was because Caruso was boxing out bigs. He was boxing out bigs, man, and AD was able to get the rebound no problem. So let's do this, guys. I'm way over time, but I want to be able to go through this as we normally do. We're 41-12, and we are, we're 23. And I forget what that is. We're 23 and something away from home. We're basically undefeatable from home right at this point. We're 23-5 away. Like that's insane. We're insane. We are, and I think right now we're undefeated with the exception. We have not lost to a Western Conference team on the road since we lost to the Clippers on opening night. That's a heck of a stat, guys. Which is going to bode well when you talk about playing in the playoffs. That means we can go into anybody's house and steal one. That's going to make a difference. But as somebody pointed out, we're getting ready to hit a weird part of the schedule. Obviously, guys, we're not going to have Laker games for a while. So ain't going to be no post-game shows, stuff like that. We're not going to see each other for about 9-10 days. So when we come back, we're at home for 3 games. And I think this is the most important part for us. Playing Memphis, playing Boston, and playing New Orleans. Back at home. That's getting our mojo set. Then we go and we play Golden State and Memphis on the road. It's very possible for us to come out of that 4-1, which would mean we'll be 45-13. This is good for us, okay? Because I think if there's any possible loss, to me, it is the Boston Celtics, but we don't know. But once we get done with Memphis and then we go to New Orleans, once we get out of that, we come home, and that's when all the chips are on the table. Starting March 3rd, we play at home against Philadelphia 76ers. We play at home against the Milwaukee Bucks. And technically we play on the road, but we're at home against the LA Clippers. Those 3 games these are all 3 people that we're going to see have a potential to see in the playoffs. Of course, the 76ers or the Bucks, possibly seeing them in the finals, and the Clippers we'll probably see at some point during the playoffs. So these guys are going to be the barometer test for us. The Boston game is going to be a preview of how many adjustments we need to make. But then Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and LA. And here's the biggest key out of all of it. If we do sign anybody, it will be prior to that Philadelphia game. Okay, which means by really before the New Orleans game on March 1st. The deadline is March 1st for us to sign somebody for them to be eligible to be in the playoff roster. So by the time we play LA and Milwaukee and the 76ers, it's possible the roster will look different. And by that time, we'll have a better idea of, are we trending in the right direction? And did the move we make actually work, right? So we'll see. And then once we get out of that weird stretch, it's really kind of cruise control until later on. But after that, we play, Brooklyn, Houston, Denver, Utah back-to-back, Charlotte, Detroit, Toronto. Like these are all games that they're mostly winnable. We finish out the year for the most part in a great position. We have a long road trip, but the road trip is Charlotte, Detroit, Toronto, Cleveland, Washington, Minnesota, right? These are all those games that we're talking about. We want Braun to be sub 30 minutes, with the exception of Toronto. Blake St. Clair, I'm going to read these last ones. Clippers aren't making the finals because the Lakers are. Absolutely, sir. Thank you. 17 in a row, I think, in conference. Wow, that's crazy. Rest in peace, Kobe and Gianna Bryant. Diamond, absolutely. Our thoughts and prayers are with them. And, of course, if you guys haven't heard, that they buried Kobe and Gianna on the 7th over in Corona Del Mar. And so, it still feels sublime. It feels surreal to even say it. Like, he's not here with us. But he's never forgotten. Kiss, can we finish at the first seed or top 3? Absolutely top 3. I truly believe the first seed. Do you think the Rockets can beat the Clippers? They are 2-0 against the Clippers. I don't know what to make of the Rockets after what they did with that lineup and that small ball. I just don't think it's sustainable. And the Clippers, I don't know what the Clippers are going to become in the playoffs. I don't know what they turn on in the playoffs. If it becomes something different, I don't know. Dynasty mode, Jeff Green or Tyler Johnson? I would take Tyler Johnson over Jeff Green, but I'm not sure if we're going to do either one of those. But with that said, guys, this is the last one. I went longer tonight because I'm not going to see you for over a week. But listen, guys, I want you guys to enjoy this All-Star Weekend. Know that you're walking into the All-Star Weekend with your head held high. No matter who you're watching on the court with your family and friends as All-Star Weekend is happening, because you're a Laker fan, you can wear your jersey proudly after 6 years of having to hide our faces. We can show our Laker gear proudly and say we are the number 1 seed and we finished off going into the break, beating the number 2 seed in the conference. We beat them on their home floor in overtime, and we did it decidingly. We did it with toughness and tenacity. And we have 2 of the best players in the league. And there's absolutely nobody in the league that can touch us when we turn it on. And so you have the right to gloat for the next 9 days. But when I come back, it'll be the stretch to the playoffs. And for the first time, guys, in 6 to 7 years, 8 years, really, if you really think about it, we'll be going to the playoffs. And that's something that we should celebrate. So, tip your glass, enjoy yourself. Remember, Mamba out, but not forgotten. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you guys in 9 days.